Let this story be a soft embrace to ease ye into rest. Acalypha and the Spring Sprite. This story is about Halfa, a kind-hearted girl, who meets Geranium, a spring sprite, and gains reassurance and strength from the magical encounter. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the edge of a vast forest, there lived a young girl named Acalypha. She was known far and wide for her radiant smile and her unwavering kindness toward all living beings. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky with hues of crimson and gold, Acalypha ventured into the forest to gather flowers for the village festival. The forest was alive with the sound of crickets and the sweet scent of blooming flowers. She wandered deeper into the woods. She felt the gentle breeze tickle her cheeks, and the leaves rustled softly in response. Suddenly, she heard a delicate whisper carried by the wind. "Acalypha, don't be afraid." Startled but curious, she followed the sound to a clearing where the moonlight bathed the ground in a silvery glow. In the center stood a small creature, no taller than Acalypha's knee. It had delicate wings that shimmered like the dew on a spring morning and eyes that sparkled like the stars. "Who are you, Acalypha?" asked her voice barely a whisper. "I am Geranium, a spring sprite," the creature replied with a voice as soft as a lullaby. "I have been watching over you and the village for many months." Acalypha felt a wave of calm wash over her. "But why have you shown yourself to me now?" Geranium fluttered her wings and hovered closer. "I sensed a shadow of doubt in your heart, a worry that you might not be strong enough to face the upcoming challenges. I am here to reassure you." Acalypha knelt beside Geranium, marveling at her delicate beauty and the warmth that seemed to radiate from her. "How can you help me?" she asked. Geranium reached out and touched Acalypha's hand. "Within you lies a strength greater than any fear. Remember, the love and kindness you give to others will always guide you back to your true self." The words were like a soothing balm to Acalypha's soul. She felt her worries melt away as Geranium's gentle presence filled her with hope and courage. As they sat together, the forest seemed to come alive with a magical energy. The trees whispered secrets, and the flowers swayed in a harmonious dance. Time seemed to stand still in that enchanted place. Eventually, Geranium spoke again. "Whenever you feel lost or afraid, return to this clearing and I will be here to remind you of your strength." Acalypha nodded, her heart brimming with gratitude. She knew that she was never truly alone. Headlong from between human and spring sprite was one of spirit and soul, an eternal friendship forged in the heart of the forest. With a final flicker of her wings, Geranium disappeared into the night, leaving behind a faint trail of light. As Acalypha made her way back to the village with an armful of flowers, she felt a new sense of purpose. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that the spirit of the forest and the reassurance of a small spring sprite would always be with her. Let's drift further into peace with the next story. Tansy and Primrose, a Tale of Nurture. This story is about Tansy, who nurtures a baby snake named Primrose, leading to a lifetime bond between them. Tansy was a gentle-hearted woman who lived in a small, picturesque cottage at the edge of the meadow, where the grass swayed like the ripples on a pond. One morning, while tending to her flower garden, she found a small, shivering snake coiled near the base of a sunflower. It was a baby snake with shining emerald scales and big, worried eyes. Tansy had always believed in the sanctity of life and the importance of care. So she gently picked up the snake and cradled it in her warm hands. When she decided to name it Primrose. Daily, she fed Primrose and spoke to her with kind words. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Tansy and Primrose formed a bond unlike any other. The snake began to understand Tansy's words and reciprocated her affection by curling round her wrist or resting her head gently on Tansy's shoulder. The love and attention Tansy provided allowed Primrose to grow strong and confident. Their bond was so magical that even the wildflowers seemed to bloom brighter and the songs of birds more melodious when they were together. One day a fierce foe blew through the meadow with howling winds and rain that lashed against Tansy's cottage. Protecting Primrose became Tansy's sole objective. She placed the little snake in a soft, woolen nest and kept it close to her heart. When the storm finally passed, they both emerged stronger, their bond even deeper than before. With time, Primrose grew large and graceful, a figure of strength and beauty. She never forgot the kindness of Tansy and stayed by her, a loyal companion. Tansy and Primrose continued to live in their ideal meadow home, teaching each other the true meaning of nurture and the unspoken language of pure love. Let's continue with a peaceful, gentle tale. Frisia and Euphorbia, the Seeds of Care. This story is about Frisia, a girl who loves her garden, and Euphorbia, a wise charming animal whose shared care brings a village together. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled between lush hills, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Frisia. Frisia had a gentle soul, and her love for nature was evident in the garden she tenderly cared for every day. Among her beloved plants, there was one she held dear above all others. Euphorbia, a charming animal that had the appearance of a delicate flower, but possessed the wisdom of ages. Euphorbia had arrived in Frisia's garden on a breezy spring morning, its petals glistening with dew. Frisia had sensed that this was no ordinary plant, and entranced by its beauty, she had decided to nurture it with extra care. Over time, Frisia and Euphorbia formed a bond that transcended words. Each morning, Frisia would greet Euphorbia with a soft touch, and in response, Euphorbia would sway gently, its petals producing a sweet, melodic. This harmony between them brought joy to both their hearts. One golden afternoon, Frisia noticed that some of the plants in her garden seemed to be languishing. Their once vibrant leaves were now drooping and dull. Worried, she turned to Euphorbia for guidance. My dear friend, what should I do to help our garden thrift and free it on poor? Euphorbia, with its wise, shimmering petals, answered in a voice as soft as the wind. The plants need more than water and sunlight. They need love and care, just as you have given to me. Who tried to be inspired by Euphorbia's words, Frisia decided to spend more time with each plant, talking to them softly and gently touching their leaves. To her delight, the plants began to thrive, their colors returning to a vivid brilliance. The village soon took notice of Frisia's flourishing garden. People came from far and wide to admire the vibrant blooms, but they were more deeply touched by the gentle care Frisia bestowed on her plants. They saw in her compassionate actions a reflection of the care that humans should extend to each other. Euphorbia, proud of Frisia's efforts, bloomed more beautifully than ever. Its petals were now a radiant mixture of colors, each hue representing the kindness that had been spread throughout the garden and the village. Frisia and Euphorbia continued to care for their garden together, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. For the simple act of caring for her plants, Frisia had sown the seeds of love, and these seeds blossomed into a community united by kindness. As the stars twinkled in the night sky, Frisia and Euphorbia sat together, their hearts filled with contentment. They knew that as long as they continued to care for each other and their garden, their little village would always be a place of beauty and warmth. The next story is ready to carry you further. Death of Athiel and Violet, the River of Friendship. This story is about the heartwarming adventures of Kathleen and Violet as they follow a river, realizing their friendship is as deep and enduring as the river itself. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there was a kind-hearted girl named Kathleen and a gentle bear called Violet. The two were the best of friends and spent their days exploring the wonders of the forest together. Kathleen loved the way the sunlight danced through the leaves, casting a patchwork of light and shadow on the forest floor. Violet found joy in the sound of the river that flowed nearby, its waters sparkling like diamonds under the sun. One sunny afternoon, Kathleen and Violet decided to follow the river to see where it would lead them. They packed a small basket with berries and honey, ready for a grand adventure. As they walked along the river bank, they noticed the flora and fauna changing softly around them. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers, and the sound of the river grew louder and more melodic. Kathleen turned to Violet and said, "Isn't it marvelous how the river brings life wherever it goes?" Violet nodded, her eyes sparkling with contentment. "Yes, it is like the river carries the music of the forest with it," she replied. They continued their journey, crossing small wooden bridges and hopping over stones. Every so often they would stop to admire the view or share stories of their past adventures. Their bond grew stronger with every step they took, and they realized that the river was not just a path but a symbol of their enduring friendship. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the landscape, they reached a beautiful clearing. The river widened into a serene lake, its surface reflecting the colors of the sky. Poe sat down at the edge of the lake, enjoying the tranquility of the moment. Kathleen took out the basket, and they shared a meal under the open sky. "This is the perfect end to a perfect day," Kathleen said, her heart filled with joy. "Every moment with you is perfect," Violet replied softly. They watched as the stars began to appear, twinkling like tiny lanterns in the vast night sky. As they lay on the soft grass, talking about their dreams and plans for the future, they knew that their friendship was as deep and enduring as the river itself. The night was filled with laughter and love, and they fell asleep under the protective canopy of the trees, with the gentle murmur of the river lullabying them into a peaceful slumber. May tonight's story bring you comfort full night long.